Greetings, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Let me extend to you a very warm welcome to this special event from the Dubai Chamber of Commerce and Industry and the technology giant Facebook. This is an auspicious occasion as our gathering comes on the heels of the first virtual tour of the Middle East region by Facebook's Chief Operating Officer, Sheryl Sandberg. During her tour, Sheryl has been touching base with small and medium-sized businesses in the United Arab Emirates. She's been holding roundtable discussions with them and brainstorming with aspiring entrepreneurs, innovators, and future business leaders in the Emirates. A topic at the heart of Sheryl's discussions has been the role of technology companies like Facebook in helping small companies weather the global pandemic. In short, how might industry front-runners like Facebook not only help these enterprises survive, but also thrive beyond the current crisis? This theme will be central to my conversation with Sheryl a little bit later on, and we'll drill down into how small and emerging businesses can get online, stay online, and really maximize their commercial activities in turbulent times. After all, Facebook is a very big business used by millions of small businesses every day. So how is the tech titan helping them flourish in this new world order? Ahead of our interview and to truly set the scene for our discussion today, plus spotlight how the Dubai Chamber is really supporting SMEs whilst touching upon its new and exciting digital initiative, it is my very great pleasure to offer the virtual floor to the President and CEO of the Dubai Chamber of Commerce and Industry, His Excellency Hamad Bouamin.
Thank you, Rebecca. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to begin by welcoming you all to Facebook SMB businesses or small businesses UAE tour. We at Dubai Chamber are honored to support this tour as it complements our efforts to work closely with industry leaders like Facebook to support the growth of small businesses. These issues around innovations and digital transformation is important in sustaining and supporting business growth, especially here or in our parts of the world. And this was, of course, clear during the challenging times that the whole world went through recently. And this initiative advances our chamber's ongoing efforts in accelerating digital transformation of businesses in Dubai, and it enhance its economic competitiveness on a global level. Nowadays, small businesses are realizing that the future is digital. And the recent drastic change in consumer behavior during the COVID era has created a new reality, which requires companies to adapt quickly and think of online channels as a fundamental part of their businesses, as opposed just as extension of it or just a good to have in the past. And like the rest of the world, startups and SMEs are playing big role for us here in UAE and in Dubai post-COVID digitally driven economy, as they are engines driving innovation. And we believe that the recently announced projects for us here in UAE by UAE governments will assist the next phase of growth for the whole country. We hope that somebody like Facebook will play part of it, or a bigger part of it. And one of these projects is the new data law, which is expected to be a major growth driver of digital economy once implemented. Noting that this law was drafted in partnership with major international technology companies like Facebook, and it is designed in a way to enable the private sector to grow, innovate, and prosper. Of course, we hope this important law will position Dubai and UAE as one of the Silicon Valleys of the world, and will develop our city into a magnet for the world's leading digital companies to attract talents and technologies. Now, if you allow me, I'm just going to say a few words about Dubai Chamber and our efforts in this important developments. Our chamber has long supported the local businesses in setting up and building their online presence in the recent years. And we have launched programs with a number of global technology partners offering digital channels that connect our 250,000 members of Dubai Chamber of Small and Medium Businesses with new customers. And we continue working to find new ways to promote e-commerce and engage with technology leaders through platforms like this one. It's important also to note that Dubai has recently launched a new chamber of digital economy as part of Dubai Chamber. And this chamber is tasked with focusing on initiatives and studies in the future economy. And this is part of our efforts to build the world's best digital infrastructure and transform the city into international technology hub. The new chamber will build a network of relationships with local and international tech entrepreneurs with the objective of advancing the role of digital economy in Dubai and in our region. And this chamber will also help advocating laws and legislation in Dubai and United Arab Emirates to create a friendly environment for digital economy. We believe that these efforts will strengthening Dubai position as one of the global cities of digital economy. We hope to be able to play with giants like Facebook in this area. On that note, I would like to thank Sheryl Sandberg and the whole of Facebook team and all of you for your attention. And I look forward for the forthcoming session. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. If I may, I'd just like to ask you a few questions on the back of what you were telling us. What role are SMEs playing in building and expanding Dubai's digital economy? You've touched upon it, but could you expand on that for me?
SMEs in Dubai is the backbone of Dubai economy. It accounts for 95% of all the businesses in the city, and many of these businesses, particularly the startups, are the major growth engine and source for innovation for us. Historically, the big companies, and especially the multinational, used to be the innovators. However, we realize that now the startups are the one filling this gap, especially in the area of digital transformation and bridging the new solutions that change the way people interact. The entrepreneurship spirit in Dubai is very strong, and these startups are bringing unique business solutions and concepts that really fill the market gaps and drive a sustainable growth. We are seeing a growing number of startups emerging in a number of sectors, whether it is the fintech, the e-commerce, education, supply chain, of course, in response to the changing market environment. Another important fact that we're seeing here in Dubai is a strong interest of companies from our part of the world, whether it is the Middle East or Africa or South Asia, including India, that comes to Dubai because they want to position Dubai as their own gateway for the rest of the world and for our own region. So this is what the SMEs stand for us in Dubai.
And just to follow up briefly, how are global technology companies driving digital commerce in Dubai?
Well, I stated that as well. The big technology companies, again, like Facebook, are represented here in Dubai, and they play a big role as in shaping up our ecosystem. And we believe that their presence is very important in terms of developing localized solution that meet the unique needs of our type of customers in our part of the world. And we are proud that recently we really partner with a number of them into a number of areas to boost the online presence of the small and medium businesses and grow their businesses.
And lastly, Your Excellency, please share with our audience, what is Dubai Chamber doing to attract innovative, digitally driven startups to Dubai? You have touched upon it, but what should they know if they're thinking about it?
I think we are doing a lot in this area, but maybe just to state maybe three important facts. I will start with the business environment. We work very closely with the governments to create and maintain a favorable business environment for the businesses in Dubai and to keep the city and to keep the businesses competitive and to keep the city attractive and open for especially digital economy, because this is important. The other thing also in terms of city promotion, we are aligning our efforts between our Dubai Startup Hubs, which is part of Dubai Chamber, which have connection with all the partners here in Dubai in terms of incubators and ecosystem, along with our international offices and international partners and chambers of commerce to attract high potential businesses to Dubai, because we believe this is very important to support the city's strategic visions. And we're really seeing a lot of startups bringing great solutions to the markets to facilitate and drive the digital economy. And last but not least, as I said, we launched a Chamber of Commerce focus on digital economy that represent all the tech companies, whether the giants or the small startups, with a focus to accelerate the growth of Dubai digital economy.
Superb. Thank you so much, Shukran, Your Excellency. And now it is time for me to introduce our second special guest of the day, a lady who almost needs no introduction, but certainly deserves one. After graduating from Harvard University and Harvard Business School, Sheryl Sandberg blazed a trail at Google, the US Treasury Department, McKinsey & Co., and the World Bank. Today, and since 2008, Sheryl has been the COO of the American multinational tech company Facebook, overseeing the firm's business operations and serving on the board of directors. She's committed to positioning Facebook as a platform for small businesses and is actively working with them all the time. In fact, Forbes, according to Forbes, in terms of the company and her contribution when it comes to small business advertising, last year she helped increase ad revenue by more than 20% to $84.2 billion. Many of you will also be familiar with Sheryl's written work. From the book she, of course, co-authored with Professor Adam Grant, titled Option B, Facing Adversity, Building Resilience, and Finding Joy. We all need some of that. And of course, her bestsellers, Lean In, Women Work and the Will to Lead, and Lean In for Graduates. And in that vein, in 2013, Sheryl founded leanin.org, also known as the Lean In Foundation. It's aimed at offering women the, quote, ongoing inspiration and support to really help them achieve their goals. It supports women in three main ways: in terms of community, education, and coordinated lean-in circles or communities who meet regularly. And now there are 59,000 lean-in circles in 188 countries. Sheryl's advice continues to be invaluable to countless small and large businesses the world over. And some of her many memorable quotes include, motivation comes from working on the things that we care about. It also comes from working with people we care about. And for those of you watching who may have long wanted to launch a small business, she would say, well, what you want to do, you should do. Because what would you do if you were not afraid today? Take that chance, leap in. Well, let's find out what we can do to launch and boost and foster and really nurture small businesses. Without further ado, let's lean in for a special Dubai Chamber Fireside Chat with Sheryl. Sheryl, a very warm welcome. How are you?
Thank you. That was so kind. And it's just an honor to be here with you, Your Excellency, and with you. And, you know, I haven't left this chair in a year and a half. So this is my attempt at traveling. And while it's not as good as being there in person, it is wonderful, wonderful to at least share this virtual stage. And I think more importantly, this important work Your Excellency, I was really moved by the commitment you have, the commitment the Chamber has to growing small and medium-sized businesses, and really honored to be with you here today.
Thank you so much, Sheryl. Let me start by asking you, some companies have done particularly well during the pandemic, including many large tech companies, of course, whilst others, particularly small businesses, have really struggled. What role, in your opinion, do you see tech companies playing in their recovery, in global recovery, but especially for small businesses?
So at Facebook, small businesses are the heart of what we do. Our job is to grow businesses. We always say our goal is to make small businesses into big businesses. But small businesses are the heart of our communities. And while coronavirus has been definitely a health crisis, it's also been an economic crisis, and an economic crisis that has hit small businesses very hard. We surveyed SMBs in the UAE at the end of last year, and nearly 1 in 5 were closed. And more than half of the ones that were open said that their sales were down. And so, this is really the challenge of a lifetime. And this is a challenge we take very, very seriously. So at Facebook, we asked ourselves, what could we do? Well, the first thing we can do is give small businesses the tools to go online. When you set up a Facebook page or an Instagram business profile, it's free. It takes minutes, not days, not hours, but it's also something you probably know how to do because you've probably been on Facebook or Instagram as a person. And so it's really the same thing, but we need to make those tools available. We also wanted to give digital skills training because giving these tools, but not having anyone know how to use them, obviously doesn't work. So 100 million people tuned into Facebook virtual programs in 2020 to help SMBs shift online through the virtual trainings. And we trained over 11,000 SMBs across the Middle East and North Africa through the free webinars. And then what we did is we gave grants. We gave $100 million out to small businesses in 30,000 SMBs in 30 countries, and Dubai-based SMBs were part of that. Now, before we got together this morning, I got to do a small business roundtable, and I got to meet some of these amazing women and men who are doing this on the field, almost as if I was there. I got to talk to Maureen Hall, and her business is called Coega Sunwear. She launched in 2004, so she launched it a long time ago because she noticed a need for garments that would protect her children from the sun. So she began making swimwear for herself and her kids. And some of her friends noticed and was like, that's really great. How do I get that? But then when COVID hit, 90% of her sales were to brick and mortar retailers, and those businesses were shutting down, and all of them canceled their orders. She had to shut down production for 4 months. She applied for our SMB grant program. She used that grant money to pay, she used that grant money to pay her salaries. And then when the quarantine lifted in July, she was able to really ramp up production, and she pivoted to making white label products for other brands. And get this, 2021 so far has been her best year yet in sales. So her employees are back to their regular salaries. She was able to do back cuts for the salary cuts she had to make during lockdown, and her business is thriving. And those are the stories we love to hear.
It's incredible. Pivoting and coming back stronger. That's what it's all about. And in this region specifically, since we're on the topic, can you share with us how Facebook is really supporting small businesses in the United Arab Emirates, where we sit?
Absolutely. Because supporting small businesses in the United Arab Emirates is so important to us at Facebook. We launched a hashtag Love Local campaign. And this was across the Middle East and North Africa to support SMBs, providing digital training and also providing that marketing voice, because we know that small businesses are inspired by other small businesses. So we produced a video showing stories like Maureen's, local businesses partnering with creators and celebrities so that people could see, wow, that small business did it. I could too. Another fabulous, two more fabulous entrepreneurs I met this morning, the founders of Project Chaiwala, Justin Joseph and Ahmed Kazim. They served chai tea through a very live, authentic street experience. They were really driven, they told me, by a passion for tea culture, really coming from India and from some of their local background. But again, this was a live, authentic, in-person experience. So when COVID hit, they had to pivot, and they pivoted to e-commerce. They focused on expanding their delivery service. They joined this hashtag Love Local campaign. They used their training, the training we provided, and they saw a 300% increase in sales compared to before the pandemic. And 50% of this was due to Facebook and Instagram. And what I love about what they told me today is they started with in-person. Then they had to go to delivering to people's homes. And then they realized once they're not in person, they could sell internationally. So they turned their storefront from the street they were in to a global world. And that is what we really love to see.
It's truly inspiring. And who doesn't love a cup of tea after all? It will never go out of fashion. For a small, or coffee in this part of the world, indeed. For a small business, however, that has no website and no experience with digital marketing or online advertising, as so many don't, what specific advice would you give them?
So the first thing is establish a digital presence. We offer them for free on Facebook page or an Instagram business profile, and just a few clicks for a few minutes, but you have to be online. You have to start there. The digital transformation was happening long before COVID, but it's massively accelerated. The second is once you have a digital presence, you have to learn the basics of how to reach your customers. Now, it used to be that only big companies could afford advertising. With personalized ads, SMBs can reach people interested in their products for just a few dollars in a very privacy protective way. If you think about a big business, they can advertise to the whole city of Dubai, the whole country, the United Arab Emirates. If you're a small business, I'm a local yoga studio. I need to find people who are interested in yoga within my city block. I'm a dog walker. I need to find people who are dog lovers who are in the region where I could actually serve them. And so we offer free trainings at our SMB training hub. And then the next thing is you got to keep iterating and learning. The people I've seen who are successful growing their business, both brick and mortar, but also online, are constantly trying new things online and seeing what works. I'll share yet another story of another fabulous entrepreneur I met this morning. Lily Ho Nguyen owns Vietnamese Foodies, which is a family-owned Vietnamese restaurant. She was really driven by a passion for this food, and she started using Facebook to promote her cooking lessons in 2015, so long before COVID, under the brand Vietnamese Foodies. She gained a really large following on the platform, and that gave her the confidence to open her first restaurant. And she opened in January 2018 in Dubai. And then she used personalized ads to find customers who loved gluten-free, vegan, or paleo dishes who lived close by. And get this, she's been so successful that she has 48 full-time employees, 3 locations, and a 4th one opening at the end of this year. So this started as a passion project, just sharing the food she loved, gained a following. And while a lot of small businesses go from, brick and mortar to online, she went the other way. She started online and she went to brick and mortar. And it's an incredible story. I'm just sorry I'm not in town, so I can't taste the food.
Don't worry, I'll do it for you and report back. Certainly getting hungry. More tea, more food. That's what we want. And let me ask you now, how has the pandemic changed the way that Facebook itself does business? What are the lasting effects on tech and business in general, Sheryl?
So there was an acceleration of a digital transformation before COVID, but now it's going much, much, much faster. And so the ability of small businesses to go online, reach customers, that accelerated. And a lot of the small businesses I've spoken to, both in the United Arab Emirates this morning, but also globally, want to keep both businesses alive. Once they open back up, and a lot of them have, they realize, wow, I can provide a tea experience online and I can sell virtually. I can provide classes in person and I can continue doing Facebook Live or Instagram live classes. I'm going to give you another great example. Sarah Skelani owns Layla's Candy Cart, which is catering events with tailored candy boxes. She named it for her daughter, and she used Instagram to find people who were interested in food and parties. But she was providing candy boxes for parties. And so when COVID hit, she said everything shut down. All of her business went away because no one was there to do it. So rather than halt her business, she decided to shift, and she expanded her services to gift hampers, activity boxes, and party giveaways. And again, she used Instagram to find customers. And so she actually had to hire 5 employees to keep up with the demand. And so again, a total shift. And as things open back up, her hope is to do more, do both, do the in-person events and provide the gift boxes.
Absolutely. Expanding the business base. We wish her every continued success. Let's talk innovation. You have touched upon it, but as we know, technology is moving so incredibly fast. And during the pandemic, many have relied heavily on social media platforms like Facebook to connect with family and friends. Which innovations in social media in particular are you excited about and why?
So one of the things I'm most excited about are our commerce initiatives. Again, people were selling offline, and our shift is not just to help people find customers, but it's also to actually help them complete purchases. I'm going to keep telling the stories of the great people I met this morning because they're so worth sharing. Lamad Jamal is the owner of Mamalu Kitchen, which is a cooking studio to help parents simplify their day-to-day lives with easy, healthy recipes. She hosts weekly Instagram Live cooking demos to her community. She has 75,000 Instagram followers. And those lives have been really effective in generating community engagement. She often gets direct messages for business opportunities because of them. Again, something that you do in person, usually cook, shifting online. But I'm excited to help companies make that shift. But the other thing I'm really excited about, which is kind of the future, is really about the metaverse and virtual reality and augmented reality. I mean, there are so many things that we need to do in person, and COVID has taught us to really appreciate those when they went away. But there also are so many things we can do virtually and do them virtually together. And I'm really excited for us to come together and do those things virtually. We've been experimenting with some of it at Facebook, and I'm excited to continue learning.
You've touched, as we've spoken, upon so many stories, not least involving women. And of course, you are a famous advocate for women. Do you think that the pandemic has affected and impacted women entrepreneurs and their small businesses in a particular way? And if so, what advice would you give them?
So, again, COVID has been an economic crisis, a health crisis, and a crisis for gender. My foundation, Lean In, we do the largest study of women in the workplace, and we just released it this week. And here's what we know. 1 in 3 women are considering downshifting their careers or leaving the workforce. That's compared to 1 in 4 women last year. That's a disaster. And we are seeing female workforce participation hit lower levels than it's been in decades. Now, why is that? Because women have always worked a double shift, while men often work one. They have a job, they leave the home. But women have jobs, leave homes, go to do their job or work from home now. And then they're doing the great majority of the childcare and housework. And with COVID, that double shift has become a double shift, taking care of children who are home, taking care of elderly parents. And so women are feeling more burnt out than ever. And I think what we need to understand is that we all need to help make sure women get the leave they need, women get the help they need, and that we support women so that we can keep them in the workforce. Because female participation in the workforce is so important for economic growth. Women are also great entrepreneurs. At Facebook, we launched the hashtag She Means Business in 2016, which is a program for entrepreneurs, female entrepreneurs, to network and support each other. We've trained 1 million women across 38 markets, and we launched in Dubai in 2017, and we've trained over 15,000 women across the Middle East and North Africa. And then when COVID hit, we expanded She Means Business to include training on business resiliency, including financial education and how to navigate through the crisis. It's been pretty exciting to watch.
Such important tools, yes, and exciting to watch, as you say. And on that note, that inspiring note, I'm afraid we have to leave our discussion for today. So on behalf of the Dubai Chamber, let me say to you a very big thank you, Sheryl Sandberg, for your time, your advice, and especially for your advice for UAE small businesses and how they can maximize their commercial and digital potential. We very much look forward to seeing you here in person next time, Sheryl.
Thank you so much for this opportunity, these amazing entrepreneurs I got to meet this morning and talk about. Your Excellency, thank you for joining us. It's up to all of us to keep this going and keep this growing.
Thank you so much, Sheryl. Thank you, Your Excellency. And thank you to everybody for watching. We hope that you enjoyed this discussion as much as we did, and we very much look forward to bringing you more events of this kind to help your businesses grow in the future. So for more updates, be sure to follow the Dubai Chamber online and, of course, on its Facebook page. Stay safe, take care, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye.